Hello, everyone, and a big welcome to 50 Forward. This event celebrates a milestone, 50 years of Landmarks, Illinois. But this is not your usual anniversary party. Tonight, we'll be looking forward as much as we're looking back. I'm Bonnie McDonald, your MC for this virtual party. Now, I've proudly served as president and CEO of Landmarks, Illinois for nearly 10 years. To our longtime supporters celebrating with us, thank you. The 50 years of achievements that you just saw in our opening video were made possible through your advocacy and your generous support. We're here because of you. By the way, if that video went by a little too quickly, we will be posting all of the evening's videos on our YouTube page so you can watch them again. You won't miss a thing. There's also a chat option next to the video if you want to comment on the program tonight. We're always glad to hear from you. If you're meeting us for the first time, we couldn't be happier that you're here. Every day, we work with people to preserve places from our past to reuse them for the future. We are people saving places for people. Places just like this one. I'm broadcasting live from Chop Shop in Chicago's Wicker Park neighborhood. This 100-year-old building was an auto body shop, which became vacant and neglected. Now, it's a beloved deli, restaurant, and TV studio. Reusing this building promoted environmental sustainability, community development, and fun, all things that we need for a healthy and happy future. And speaking of the future, at least the immediate future, here's what we have in store for you tonight. We'll be sharing the Landmarks, Illinois story through a series of short films with a little commentary in between. And to make the evening even more fun, we've added music and art to the mix. Playing for us tonight is the Blue Water Kings Band, a collective of artists who have been making music together since 2012. They'll be back at the end of the show. Now, since you only turned 50 once, we wanted to make this a celebration to remember. Artist Lindsay Wilson, founder and COO of the Ink Factory, joins us here in studio. Ink Factory artists create live visual notes at events and conferences. Lindsay will synthesize tonight's program into images and text that visually capture our anniversary in a fun and different way. We'll check in on her through the hour to see her progress. But Lindsay is just one of our many storytellers tonight. Let me introduce you to the others. Who better to tell our story than those who helped write it? We've chosen 20 people who have deeply influenced our organization and our state's preservation movement. Naturally, we're honoring them with the distinguished title of influencer, and every person you see in our videos tonight is one of our honorees. Our 20 influencers truly embody the work, past, present, and future of Landmarks, Illinois, and are emblematic of hundreds of other people who made a difference. We are honoring our founders and early board members, Richard Miller, Martin Tangora, and Gail White. Our dedicated board members and staff leaders, Joe Antunovich, David Ballman, Jean Follett, Shelley Gorson, Sandra Rand, and Ann Voschel. Industry professionals and hardworking volunteers, Ed Gerns, Ellen Johnson, Katie Kim, and Jack Tribia. And people reimagining preservation for the future, including Lee Bay, Erica Block, Sierra Boatwright, Dr. Stacy Grundy, Emilio Padilla, Erica Ruggiero, and Allison Tunin-Talamo. All are passionate advocates and have had a hand in making Landmarks, Illinois what it is today, a historic preservation organization recognized not only throughout the state, but nationwide. Our next video starts with the future and how this anniversary has prompted us to look forward. Take a look.
I'm very excited about the new direction that we have under the umbrella of our 50th anniversary, broadening the definition of preservation.
For too long, generally speaking, the movement, has been a bit elitist, right? And locally and nationally, and there's this sense from people that it's George Washington slept here, Frank Lloyd Wright designed this, and the importance of the building begins and ends there. What's happening is the movement is beginning to understand that it's deeper than that.
It's time for us to rethink Who determines what spaces are important? Who determines what stories should be highlighted? Who determines what should be preserved? I think the task force is an example of the way that Landmarks Illinois is trying to ensure that the process is far more inclusive and there are more diverse partners at the table. The Landmarks Illinois 50th Anniversary Task Force is a group of professionals in different settings. Some of us are architects, some of us are developers, some of us are community leaders, and we're talking about different challenges that the field of historic preservation faces.
As a part of our 50th anniversary work, we're going to spend a lot of time doing listening sessions to listen and understand what is of value, what is of import.
Allowing community, allowing stakeholders, allowing community leaders to say, hey, let me explain why this building is so important to our culture, to our neighborhood, to my family, because you may not look at it from this lens, but certainly after you hear about the rich history, perhaps it can be on your radar.
We need to be a resource, whether it's providing loan packaging or assisting you technically with writing up your own proposals to take to a bank or to a foundation. We are there to be an agent of assistance. For example, Muddy Waters House. We met with individuals from the city of Chicago with a great-granddaughter of Muddy Waters to help her move that process along.
She wants to create a museum on one floor, a bed and breakfast on one floor, and then in the basement, a recording studio. And so we performed a condition assessment of the property to generate a responsible budget and work scope.
It's not just about the bricks and sticks, it's about the people.
It's about the people that are experiencing and using these buildings and the stories that come out of these places that is important.
One place where an amazing amount of stories have come out of is the former Ebony Jet building. It's the first building built in downtown Chicago designed for and by Black people. Inside this kind of sober exterior are these indescribably colorful and beautiful interior spaces, one different than the other, custom furniture, custom art. There's Richard Hunt sculpture hanging in the lobby. So it gets bought a couple of years ago by a developer who wants to turn it into apartments. The only thing that's left is the test kitchen. The test kitchen is the funkiest of the funky, the coolest of the cool of this building for architectural purposes and design purposes, but also because of the importance that kitchen played. The recipes that were cooked up in that kitchen by Ebony's food editors, were printed in the magazine, and every mother in the world, particularly a Black mother, tried that thing out, right? And Landmarks Illinois, they stepped up. And in this incredible save that I think still doesn't get the attention that it deserves locally, they brought in their Skyline Council, which came in, deconstructed the kitchen, put it in storage, and then figured out a way to get it to the Museum of Food and Drink. This is a historic space that will be lost forever were it not for the work of the Landmarks Illinois Skyline Council.
The Skyline Council is the Young and Emerging Professionals Committee for Landmarks Illinois. We're interested in architecture, but we're more interested in people and making sure people's history and stories are told. That's what we bring to the table. It's a different perspective, it's a different vision for Landmarks Illinois and for preservation.
And the beautiful thing about the Skyline Council, it's not just architects and engineers. We have not-for-profit, we have a handful of students. We have individuals that really love to learn more about preservation, but they're just starting off in their career.
And our service work also highlights the work that Landmarks does throughout the state. We can offer our technical assistance to communities that reach out to Landmarks Illinois for maybe some smaller projects that require a architectural review of the building, structural engineering review of the building, and I love the energy of the service events. The heart bombing was a fun activity.
What a heart bombing is when you do, paper hearts for a house or for property that might need a little bit of love. It needs recognition, it needs publicity.
With Skyline Council, we're growing the next generation of preservation by inviting everyone to the table to make sure this field is sustainable. It really is the future of preservation.
We're celebrating our 50th anniversary. But the work that we're doing right now is about who we will be for the next 50 years.
As you can see, Landmarks Illinois and our 50th anniversary task force have dedicated ourselves to moving preservation forward, ensuring our organization and our practices are relevant and inclusive, and that communities and their residents decide what they feel is worth saving. As Erica Ruggiero said, this really is the future of preservation. People use places to tell powerful, inspirational, and even difficult stories. And every community has stories to tell. Every community has places worth saving. We are proud to have helped save nearly 24,000 historic buildings and sites in our 50-year history. But there are still so many people we want to work with and places that we can save together. Our board of directors, staff, and volunteers are dedicated to this mission. Joining me tonight are two of those dedicated board members, Sandra Rand and Alex Walking. Sandra is our board chair and one of our influencers. She has been a visionary leader at this critical time in our history, driving change within our organization. Her passion for this hard but rewarding work is palpable, and she inspires other board and staff members to join in. Alex is a committed and charismatic member of both the board of directors and our Young and Emerging Professionals Committee, the Skyline Council. His can-do attitude and creativity are pushing us toward a more innovative and inclusive future, and I want to congratulate him because yesterday it was announced that he is a 30 under 30 by the National Association of Realtors. So, Sandra, Alex, welcome and fantastic to have you here.
Thank you so much, Bonnie. Good evening, everyone. As chair of Landmarks Illinois, I'd like to offer you more insight into our work. People saving places for people, with people. Historic preservation is about more than saving bricks and mortar. In 1971, our organization was founded with the goal of preserving the rich architectural heritage of Chicago. We have to remember why we do this important work. We don't save a place just because it's beautiful. We save it for the meaning it holds for people, because of the stories it tells. Landmarks Illinois provides preservation grants, donates expert advice, and connects people statewide with the right resources they need. The funding to do this work comes from our members, our donors, and generous people like you. Every dollar we raise here tonight will go straight towards saving more places for the people of Illinois.
That's right, Sandra. We need to ensure this organization is strong and relevant and has the resources to undertake its next 50 years of work. This past year has been challenging for us all. I know you've heard that many times and felt it personally over the last 12 months. Landmarks Illinois has too. Yet we are proud to have stepped forward to serve even more people during 2020. We not only continued our preservation grant programs throughout the pandemic, but we actually increased our award amounts and created two entirely new grant programs to support the work of more people saving places. Our one-time COVID-19 organizational relief grant program provided over $26,000 to nonprofits across Illinois last spring. Funds that help small nonprofits cover critical operational expenses like paying staff, electricity bills, and rent. And our new Timuel D. Black Jr. Grant Fund for Chicago's South Side made its first award to preservationists in the Bronzeville community. The fund is named in honor of civil rights activist, historian, and Landmarks Illinois 2020 legendary landmark, Timuel Black.
These preservation grant programs come entirely from our donor support. Tonight, we are not going to be shy about asking for your support, in fact, and by that, I do mean your money. We will have a special call to action later in the program, but if you get the urge to donate early, you may do so at any point tonight. My tech guru over here, Alex, is going to tell you just how.
As Sandra noted, we welcome and encourage you to make a donation to Landmarks Illinois directly on 50FORWARD's viewing site at any time. You'll see the area to donate next to the video via credit card. If you have your mobile device close to you, which I'm sure you do, You can make a donation by texting LI 50FORWARD to 76278. Please note, by texting, you can pay via credit card instantly or make a pledge tonight, and Landmarks Illinois will follow up with you to arrange payment. All donations are secure and also live in real time.
I have no doubt you will be inspired, as I have been, to support the work of this incredible organization. There has been so many success stories in our first 50 years, but tonight we'd like to highlight just a few. Our next video talks about the early days of Landmarks Illinois and some of the places we saved.
On February 12 of 1971, the Chicago Tribune had an article that said that the leases were being terminated at the old Chicago Stock Exchange by Adler and Sullivan, and the building was going to be demolished. And my wife remembers me turning to her and saying, well, it's too late to save the building, but we have to make a stand. And so in February of 1971, I formed the Landmarks Preservation Council. We made a sincere effort to find an alternative, but you don't save buildings after they have been sold for the erection of a 45-story building to replace the 14-story building. Our focus at that time was on the group of architects known as the Chicago School of Architecture that worked in Chicago at the end of the 19th century and in the first 30 years of the 20th century.
Richard thought it was important for the preservation movement to tell city officials that there were certain buildings that we wanted to protect and we were going to fight to save if necessary. So we created a list and we published it. We were pretty much a grassroots organization, and so we were doing all the kind of stuff that you do when you don't have connections, you don't have power, and you have to fight in the public arena. So we didn't win the Stock Exchange, but we did win the Marquette building, and that was only 2 or 3 years later.
When the cornice was restored on the Marquette building 25 years later, I felt that my work had come to fruition.
I think that our advocacy on the Farnsworth House has to be the highlight of my career in Chicago. It really put Landmarks Illinois on an international stage. The Farnsworth House by the great architect Mies van der Rohe has long been an extraordinarily important piece of architecture globally.
When I discovered that the Farnsworth House was going to be put up for auction, I thought that there would be some people willing to take apart the Farnsworth House and reconstruct it somewhere and use it as a tourist venue. Appalled me.
Because it was an auction, we didn't know how much we were going to need. But with the board and the philanthropists in Chicago with which we worked, we were able to raise the money that we needed to secure the house at auction. It was just an extraordinary experience. Not too many directors of preservation organizations had that opportunity to really make a difference. So the National Trust actually owns the structure, and we have a preservation easement on the structure, which means that Landmarks Illinois has review of anything that happens to that structure. And now Landmarks Illinois has more than 500 easements in their portfolio.
Many of the old classic historic buildings had completely different uses than what we would envision for their use right now.
We try and look at how to re-envision landmarks to be functional in today's world.
The most incredible example of that, of course, for us is the Cook County Hospital building.
I used to drive by Old Cook County Hospital a lot. It just always, my heart went pitter-patter. Old Cook County Hospital, this beautiful Italianate building, really was the anchor of the West Side, making Chicago one of the most important medical centers in the world. When I heard that Cook County Board was getting ready to demolish the hospital because it couldn't pay for the maintenance, I couldn't imagine taking that building down. The board supported our fight to save Old Cook County Hospital.
I worked with a task force to perform a condition study. I really focused in on the facade of the building and the terracotta. The view that I brought to the table was, the cost of replicating all that terracotta, which really would be priceless. To see that get knocked down by a wrecking ball We'd never see work like that ever again.
The building appeared to be in fairly deteriorated condition on the interior. There was peeling paint, there was water on the floor, there was a lot of damage on the interior that had been done over the years due to neglect.
I prepared adaptive reuse drawings that would show how the hospital could be redeveloped as residential space, as office space, as hotel space.
My role was to create pro forma analyses, basically cash flow budgets, to assure that what we were looking at for the reuse programs actually made economic sense.
I worked with Landmarks for over 10 years, pursuing the saving of the building.
And there was no greater pride in the Landmarks team when they actually shoveled the ceremonial dirt.
We continued to work with the developer, and the end result is the beautiful preservation that took place very much along the guidelines that we put together with Landmarks. To drive by that building now and see it complete is really what preservation is all about.
In my time at Landmarks, Illinois, it was really amazing. The professionalization of the organization, the staff, a very, very strong board. And Shelley Gorson was extraordinarily important in putting the organization on strong financial footing. We had a preservation gala, but Shelley took it to another planet.
The Legendary Landmark Celebration is a fundraiser where we honor important people who have given back civically to the city, to the state, and should be honored for that. And from 2006 to the present, it's grown maybe from 150,000 net. Now we're at maybe 750,000 net. You can do a whole lot with $600,000. You can create myriads of programs, benefit so many people in the city and across the state. You can create a downstate office like we've done.
Our statewide mission completely changed once we hired Frank Butterfield, who was our first downstate staff person. It's just been a real game changer for us.
It's a lot of our rural communities where people don't know the process. They don't know how to step into a historical renovation. All those details that seem very complex, and they are, but Landmarks Illinois really holds your hand through that process and is really that support network.
Passage of a state historic preservation tax credit will go down as one of the major successes of Landmarks Illinois. I would say we've seen double the number of projects across the state as a result of this state incentive.
And Landmarks has been very effective in reaching out in their Preservation Heritage Fund. They have given funds to 2 projects here in Carbondale, the Fuller Dome being one. Although this is a very small size structure, it is a good prototype for much larger geodesic dome structures that you'll find throughout the world. It had really deteriorated significantly. The funding that Landmarks Illinois provided helped with the preparation of the historic structure report that our firm participated in. In 2004, the dome was listed on Landmark's Most Endangered Properties list. In 2006, it was added to the National Register of Historic Places. And then in 2015, received the Richard Driehaus Award for Preservation. And so that again helped to focus attention and give new energy for getting the dome back into good condition, which it's in today.
Myself and my co-owners, we started a museum and souvenir shop in Springfield that shares many of the untold stories that are highlighted by Landmarks Illinois. Due to racism, a lot of these people and events and sites were left out of the history books. We use our museum to share the tragedy, resilience, and excellence of Black people in the city of Springfield. Personally, it means so much to me because these are stories that growing up as a Black woman and a resident of Illinois and Springfield, I did not know. And so we do our best to connect and engage our community around these stories. Knowing your history is also connected to self-worth and self-pride. When you are in a community that might be distressed now, and then finding out that this community was full of businesses and was full of great people doing great things. Being able to have these sites and have the stories along with them, I think can make a tremendous impact in achieving racial equity. Landmarks Illinois slogan of people saving places for people. We are those people.
Our influencers talked about why they are part of Landmarks Illinois. Now, I want to thank you for being a part of our work too. I'm going to pay tribute to supporters for just 3 minutes, but don't touch that dial. You can check out what Lindsay's captured so far while I give a shout out to a few special people and companies. We hope you've liked our videos so far. Storytelling is much better in film than me going through a PowerPoint. We have company Premier Catering and Events to thank for underwriting the videos. And Lindsay's role was joyfully underwritten by influencer Gene Follett and Doug Thompson. There were a group of early donors who gave us needed courage and hope to put on a virtual fundraiser. They include our influencers as well as longtime supporters. Our preservation champions, Fred Eichner and the Richard H. Driehaus Charitable Lead Trust. Our Landmark Circle, Antunovich Associates Incorporated, Tawani Property Management, and the Van Dam Charitable Foundation. Our Skyline leaders, Gene Follett and Doug Thompson, Shelley Gorson and Alan Salpeter, Leslie S. Hindman, the Tuck Pointers Industry Promotional Trust, Matthew and Daniel Walsh of the Walsh Group, and Wintrust Commercial Banking. I can understand how this may seem like just a list of names, but behind each name is a person or people that believe so strongly in what we do that they made a gift. And it's these gifts, each and every one, that made all of what you've seen tonight so far possible. It's so important to us to thank you, because giving is something special. Our annual corporate sponsors provide the backbone of our support by underwriting our programs. I hope you'll give them a round of applause or toast them with whatever you're drinking. Maybe it will inspire you to be on this list next year. There are the expert craftspeople you see up actually doing the work, swinging off a building or putting the shine back on it. Berglund Construction, Bully & Andrews, Block Electric Company, Central Building and Preservation, Mark I Restoration Company, and the members that support the Tuck Pointers Industry Promotional Trust. We have architects designing reuse strategies like Altus Works and Antunovich Associates. Now stay with me now, I'm halfway through. Architects and engineers ensuring these places stand another 100 years. Ardmore Roderick, Klein and Hoffman, Simpson, Gumpertz and Hager, WJE and ZS Architectural Engineering. And those who put in or figure out the financial investment needed, like CA Ventures, Plant Moran, and Wintrust Commercial Banking. There is one final tribute to make, and that is to Richard Driehaus. We were deeply saddened and heartbroken to learn of Richard's passing on March 9th. He was one of our nation's most dedicated and generous preservation benefactors. Richard became involved with Landmarks Illinois 30 years ago, and his interest, commitment, and excitement for our work never waned. In fact, it only deepened. Although his vision, passion, and endless generosity will live on in our work, he will be truly missed. Now, a project that would have delighted Richard is our work with Bernard Lloyd, the owner of the Forum in Chicago's Bronzeville community. When this historic event venue, once home to the community's vibrant jazz and blues scene, was threatened with demolition in 2011, Bernard stepped in to purchase the then vacant building. He reached out to us soon after, and we've been amongst his many partners ever since, bringing advocacy and financial resources to the project. Our next video is a look at the Forum and the work of our Skyline Council, helping Bernard achieve his vision of bringing this landmark back to life. Enjoy.
As part of the Skyline Council of Landmarks, Illinois, one of the projects I'm really proud of working on is the Forum in Bronzeville. Landmarks, Illinois was giving us a tour of Bronzeville sites that they were interested in potentially working with on their relaunched reinvestment program. It's a beautiful space, and then knowing that civil rights organizations like the Freedom Riders had met there, and then also the history within the community where your local clubs and societies met just to have their annual dance or their benefits. It was an amazing space to walk into, and it kind of just grabbed me, and I got involved and worked with the owner of the building, Bernard Lloyd, to list the property on the National Register of Historic Places. And I've just never left. So after listing it, we were able to redo the roof, and now we've actually been awarded $250,000 to put a new arts incubator in the space, and I'm working with the owner on a federal historic tax credit application. The goal is for it once again to serve the community, reopening the storefronts to revitalize the 43rd Street commercial corridor and then reopen the hall for Bronzeville. Landmarks Illinois has provided the resources that have allowed me to undertake these initiatives and to continue working within communities to make sure everyone's heard, to make sure preservation is relevant for the future.
Wow. If we were at the Hilton right now, I can just hear the applause. Congratulations, Erica, Bernard, and everyone working on the Forum project. Projects like this are exactly why Landmarks Illinois exists. The Forum is just one. We're currently working on over 150 preservation projects just like this across the state, Alex.
If you love historic places and the stories they tell, now is the time to step forward.
Yes.
Again, you can make a donation on the viewing site or via your mobile device by texting LI 50FORWARD to 76278. Remember, texting allows you to make a pledge gift if you want to pay by check or automatic deposit. Oh my goodness, look at all these coming in. Thank you, Joe Antunovich, Carrie DeWitt, Fred Birdland, Michael Block, Jeffrey Bergland, Jesse Gatto, Jane McMahon, yes. David Fleener, Zachary and Ann Lazar, Krista Weir, Will and Chris Tippins, Bill Spence, Michael Rogers, Rhonda Thomas, Sarah Horton. Oh my gosh, they keep coming in. Terry Salas, Emily Harris, Sarah Breen Bartecki. Oh my goodness.
Fantastic. Now it's your turn. We have an important goal tonight. We need just $29,179 more to reach our $645,000 fundraising goal. Every dollar you give tonight gives directly to our advocacy work. Not to pay for the studio, our rent, or anything else. It goes directly to services to people saving places. Normally, we raise $125,000 at the legendary Landmark celebration to support these programs. Tonight, we're asking you to help us raise $50,000. So, if you can, please give. And to that end, I'm going to help kick this off and get us continue down this path. I'm personally going to donate an extra $5,000 tonight from my mad money. Do not tell my husband. And so that hopefully others out there will step up and join me in that particular regard this evening. So please join me with that. First, we're going to ask those of you who can donate at least $1,000 or above. For example, by supporting us at the $5,000 level, the $2,500 level, or the $1,000 level, you will make it possible for us to provide $60,000 in small capital grants in the coming year. These grants have gone to organizations like the Peoria Historical Society. They received a $2,500 grant to make repairs to the Pettingill Morin Historic House Museum. It's listed on the National Register and was the home of Moses Pettingill, a conductor of the Underground Railroad. But donations ranging from $1,000 to $5,000 tonight, you can directly support these other community preservation projects like this across the entire state of Illinois.
We know this $1,000 giving level is not possible for everyone. For those who can give at our next highest level, we ask you to consider a $500 gift. By giving $500, you make it possible to transform historic places just like the one we are broadcasting from tonight. Adaptive reuse projects, they take vision, creativity, and know-how. We recently partnered with the Preservation and Conservation Association of Champaign County, known as PACA, to save the University of Illinois-owned Colonel Wolfe School. Designed in 1910 by the firm Spencer & Temple, one of its designers was Walter Thomas Bailey, Illinois' first registered African-American architect. The school was put up for sale with only 1 month to find a developer. We worked with PACA to find preservation-minded developers to put in a bid, and as a result, The university received several proposals and is in negotiations right now that will save this Champaign landmark.
Absolutely. And look at this, Alex. The gifts continue to come in. Thank you to Tim Friends. We have Carla and Jamie Hine, Amy Woods, Susan Remus, Stacy Scapino, Jessica Coleman, Amelia D'Amico. Hi, Amelia. David Gorson, Tony Borch, D.M. Thompson, Keisha Patel. Thank you very much for your contributions. Alan Saltpeter. Mwah. Kisses to Alan. Angela Woolfork, Will Miller, Shirley Grundy, Rodolfo Vasquez, Michael Goudat, I hope that's right, Michael, Al Tangora, Joan, what do you think? Pomerantz, all right, Katie Dunnigan. So thank you so much for everything that you're doing this evening. Landmarks Illinois is regularly called upon our partners to help them fund projects like this. So we recently helped the Muddy Waters Mojo Museum apply for and secure a $50,000 grant from the National Trust, in fact, to restore the Muddy Waters House here in Chicago. Donating $250 tonight, our staff can help even more organizations secure needed funding.
We're overwhelmed by your generosity. Oh, goodness. Harry Carpenter, Vincent Michael, Katie Dunnigan, Elizabeth Blanc, Graham Grady, Carol Carpenter, Thomas Laird, Jane Hunt, Albert Villapondo, Mike Hudson. Oh my goodness, the names just keep coming in. Our last request goes out to all those who haven't made a donation during tonight's program. Now is your chance to make a gift of $100. Yes, $100 is a meaningful gift. This amount helps us organize free building evaluations to small nonprofits that own historic buildings. These are often the first steps towards finding project funding.
Yes.
We've completed countless numbers of these vital reports in our 50-year history, from the Harley Clark Mansion in Evanston to Southern Illinois Citizens Savings Bank in East Alton to the Greenstone Church in Chicago's Pullman neighborhood. You don't have to give $100 for your gift to be important and necessary. You can click the link to become a monthly donor or make a gift at any level. Landmarks Illinois will put $50, $20, or even $10 to good use. Really, every gift is meaningful to us. Your generosity and support truly matters. We can't do this without you.
Indeed, we can't, Alex. The donations continue to roll in. Thank you, Alicia Youngchrist, Mark Henning, Bernard Lloyd. Thank you, Bernard, Billy and Vicky Boyes. Devin Rand, my baby. Genevieve Fabrash, Deborah Jennings Johnson. Thank you, Deborah. David, help me? Shalinker? Want to make sure we get that. Shalinker, thank you. Want to make sure we get that right. Carol Carpenter, G. Mark Whitehead, Lynn Block, another of the Block family, I suspect. Thank you all so very much. So with all of these donations continuing to come in, I want to invite, in fact, a special guest to announce our fundraising total for tonight. Erica?
Hello, I'm Erica Block, and I'm proud to serve as the chair of the 50 Forward Celebration Event Committee. Our mission tonight is not only to celebrate the past, but to lay the groundwork for the future. You have helped us do that tonight with your generous giving. I have the privilege of announcing our total raise this evening is $28,000, making this event so far $105,000. You have made it possible to help us save places statewide. Thank you. Now back to Bonnie to close out tonight's program.
Sandra, Alex, Erica, what an amazing result. And you guys made virtual fundraising virtually painless. That is a task, and you should give yourselves a pat on the back. And I toast you all for that wonderful job, and to everybody at home who has made a gift tonight. Now let's just check back on Lindsay one more time to see how she's captured all of what you've seen tonight. While we would have loved to celebrate our 50th anniversary with you in person, we are incredibly grateful that you were here with us tonight. Congratulations again to our 20 influencers for their achievements, storytelling, and for being incredible ambassadors of our work, past, present, and future. Now, we just scratched the surface of why the influencers are special to us. Learn more about them and what's in store for our anniversary year on our website at landmarks.org. through our social media channels or sign up for our free e-alerts. Special thanks to Green River Films for rising to the challenge of profiling 20 remarkable people and 50 years of history in just 30 minutes of film. Check out these videos again on our YouTube channel, and if you enjoyed them, please share them. Our final video captures our successes that you've made possible. Stick around after that for music from the Blue Water Kings Band. Get up and dance if you'd like. There's no fear of being the only one out on the dance floor tonight. Thanks to the team here at ESP Presents, AV Chicago, and the Chop Shop for hosting us, and to Lindsay Wilson of the Ink Factory for capturing it all on paper. I invite you to stay in touch with us and join us throughout 2021 and beyond. And from all of us at Landmarks Illinois, thank you for being a part of our community and for this celebration of 50 years of success. Until next time, good night, everyone, and a toast to you.